When a person makes the decision to attend college, they often have to decide whether or not they want to commute to their college or whether they want to live right on campus of the college of their choice. I personally have experienced both sides of the decision-making process. Right out of high school, my freshman year of college, I went to Michigan State University where I lived in the dorm rooms right on campus. My sophomore year of college, I then transferred to Wayne State University where I now commute to my college, which is only a few minutes away from my home. Because there's so many factors that determine whether or not you want to commute or live right on campus, I want to make it well known that there's both pros and cons to both sides of the decision. Definitely some cons of living on campus would be that they often pair you with a person that you don't even know at all. Sometimes it works out good and sometimes it works out bad. In my personal opinion, it worked out great because I ended up being best friends with my roommate and we got along really well. In other situations, I noticed that people had complete opposite personalities of the people that they were paired to live with, and they got in horrible fights, and they just didn't get along as well. Another downside of living on campus is how expensive it is. The Herald Sun of November 29, 2012 states that there is a 3% increase in housing costs, and there's also a 4% increase in dining hall plans of price. Now, usually when you live on campus, you have to get a dining hall plan because you don't have the means to cook, whether it's in a dorm room or whether it's an apartment. Sometimes they don't supply things such as stoves or microwaves, and you have to go to the dining hall to eat all your meals. Another downside of it is that sometimes college dorms or college areas where you live are often really noisy because you're going to always run into people who don't study as hard as you or are necessarily as into school as you are. There were situations where it would be 2 o'clock in the morning on a school night and people would be running up and down the hallways, and it's sometimes often hard to sleep for people when there's people that aren't as worried about school as you are, which can happen in any circumstances. There's definitely pros and cons to commuting as well. But some pros of living on campus would be that you have a type of camaraderie with the students that you live with because you have your school in common. And the fact that you're living together means that you can also study together with people who have the same classes in common. And it worked out really well because there was a close-knit feeling of family on the floor that you lived on. You could go eat with them in the dining halls or study with them or play intramural sports. It kind of just worked out well because everybody was together and had the same school and living situations in common. Another pro of it is that you're often closer to your classes. Sometimes when you commute, you're far away and it takes you a while to get to school, but walking right outside your dorm room and being able to go to a class can sometimes be convenient. With the pros and cons with commuting, I think some of the pros are definitely that it's cheaper if you compare it to the pricing of living right on campus at a big college university. I think also sometimes it could be more comfortable for people. Maybe it's an emotional or personal feeling that you don't necessarily want to go and live out of your home yet, and you're not ready for that. So maybe you could be less anxious and more comfortable studying and focusing on school from at home. I think definitely also there are some cons to commuting to school because with commuting colleges, you're not necessarily as close with some people if you choose to be as living with them because people sort of do their own thing and then they leave college and they can come back and come and go as they please while still keeping their friends from home. I've personally experienced, I didn't meet as many people because I wasn't really forced to meet them like I was living on campus where I was in the hallways with them and sharing bathrooms with them and going to the same cafeterias and the same classes and such. But I know that commuting for me personally became a choice whether or not, it was financial or it was I could focus better on my studying. Because these both have pros and cons, it's really up to the person to decide whether personally it's better for them or not. I think really in conclusion, there's so many factors that contribute to making the decision of commuting to school or living on campus. These factors may vary from person to person because they could be physical, such as the financial aspects of paying for the higher living costs of living on campus, Or it could be emotional aspects where maybe the person just isn't necessarily ready to leave the nest yet. I think it's a personal decision, which doesn't have to be permanent, but it's more than likely that it's encountered by most every college student.